Receptors witness glory from the burning of the flame. The fires of the forge are like the trumpets which proclaim our engines at full power. Your destruction is our aim. Our truth has come online. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Our truth has come online. With heat and iron and industry will purge you from this world. You will sunder, melt, and shatter from the bolts of wrath we've hurled. And upon your ruined end, our blood-red banners stand unfurled. Our might has come online. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Our might has come online. Traitor, Xeno, heretic, they are as one to us. We will scorch them from existence with our engines devious. Our hate for them encoded into every bolt and truss. Our wrath has come online. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Our wrath has come online. Titans striding forward, ordinati by the score. They are drowning out blasphemers neath the great mechanic roar. Tradition is our bulwark, it endures forevermore. Our victory comes online. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Our victory comes online. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Engage the linkage, Omnissiah. Our victory comes online. 01111110110000001.
Welcome everyone to Tabletop Tuesday, where we talk about various tabletop games to help you guys out in basically becoming either better players, better DMs, or to improve your skills in some method. Alright, I am the Ruby Mad Hatter, and then of course we have my partner in crime here, CandidGamera.
Oh, hello.
So there's that. Just like I said, one quick announcement. There's a sponsor down below, Shock by Gaming Service. Check them out. That's all well and good. And the other one is, of course, the art list, which we're always trying to help our artists. So there you go. There you go. Bob's your uncle. All right. So today's is, and let me get to the game I have running, so that way we have visual aspects on for entertainment value. Now, the Twitch toolkit, by the way, has not been updated. That's why you won't see it in the chat. Just a heads up, man.
All right.
They haven't updated for 1.4. Plus a few of my other mods, of course, are. But we had to lose all save files, so that happens.
Yeah.
It happens with every massive, update.
The perils of mods.
Well, not even just the perils of mods. Like, RimWorld itself, the base game, everybody lost their save games.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That does sometimes happen with major updates. It's always frustrating when it does.
Yeah, they like everything was gone because they made it was massive. The update was remember the mod I had that allows you to have kids and teach them and all that jazz?
Yeah.
They added that to the base game.
Oh, neat.
So yeah, now you can have kids, but you have to buy the expansion.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, nothing's free. So there is that. So what are we talking about today? Well, today's discussion is the Artificer. We're gonna talk about Artificers and all the crazy shenanigans they do, and then we're also I'm going to bring up research and development in D&D, because I had a friend of mine recently talk to me about how I did in one of my games, and he wanted to institute it in his game that he was a player, and he talked to his DM about it. They wanted to improve technology in the world slowly. So there is that. And then if we still have time at the end, we're going to discuss some virtual tabletops and advice involving virtual tabletops.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Things that, we could point out is like, here's the things we fucked up. Here are the things we did better. Don't do the fucked up things. All right. So an artificer is essentially a magical inventor. All right, they make magic items, they do kooky shit with them, and they tend to craft magical items better than anyone else.
Since he's unconscious, I'm gonna go lay on our bed and craft.
Okay, love you.
I figured if he's unconscious,
Yeah.
I don't have to watch it.
For an artificer, you have to basically have a 13 in intelligence to multi-class in or out of the class in 5th ed. That is their big rule.
Interesting. You don't see a lot of that anymore.
Well, in all the other classes, they have a minimum 13 score in their main score to be able to multi-class with them.
I see.
Because 5th ed understood that their system was pretty much built for multi-classing.
Gotcha.
Because I'm going to be brutally honest, and this is something they're trying to rectify with 1D&D to the best of their ability. Every capstone ability in 5th ed is not good. It's not worth the levels.
Yeah.
There's no friggin' point to be level 20 in any class. There's just none. So the game hyper encourages you to multi-class.
Yeah, I agree. The capstone abilities are a little lackluster. I mean, I think that's one of the things that Pathfinder did really good.
Oh yeah.
Coming off of 3 and 3.5, like there were reasons to stick to a class in the earlier editions, but you'd be like, well, a 1 or 2 level dip to get this, that's more important because you didn't get anything for being 20th level.
Yeah.
Like as a wizard, if you got to 17th, you got your 9th level spells.
Woohoo!
You could get a few more spell slots, but you could also pick up a few levels of rogue.
Yeah. But Pathfinder really nailed down the capstone abilities.
Yeah.
Especially giving the ability to have optional capstone abilities.
Yes.
So if like the main capstone ability just isn't your jam, you're not liking it. Some classes have another option, like 1. Some have 4 or 5 options, which is wild. Like fighters have the most. I think there are 4 or 5 different capstone abilities for fighters.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. I mean, they're an incredibly customizable class. So that does make sense. With Artificer, though, let's talk about Artificer.
Sure.
Because, oh boy. Artificers are very customizable as well, but in a different way. Where fighters are customizable in your ability to build the character, Artificers are customizable in your ability to gear up your character as well as your party members.
Yeah.
So, if you want to be a party Artificer, it is highly suggested you be a very creative person.
Yeah, I mean, it's a versatile character class. There are other character classes that have similar versatility, but usually expressed through I can get whatever spells I want in a given day. Like the cleric's very versatile, but the Artificer can actually build usable gadgets. And I just want to, if you don't mind, veer to the side here a little bit. The Artificer is kind of new
Yes,
in
it
terms
is.
of concept, because D&D's always been about that like Tolkien-esque high fantasy for the longest time. And then once we started getting the explosion in like 3 and 3.5, and we had like the Eberron setting was a good example of kind of veering into that. Yep. We got this idea of, well, maybe we can advance the technology a little bit. Maybe we can move up the timeline and do some other kinds of fantasy, which is really cool. I mean, the Gadgeteer is a fun archetype in like superhero games, especially.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Having that in a fantasy context is very interesting.
Oh yeah, and art 3.5 with Eberron. Let's discuss its roots, because that is an important aspect of the Artificer compared to the other classes.
Yeah.
The other classes, their roots didn't really affect them as much as the Artificers did. David is foods, and I'm gonna butcher that, and I'm sorry. Yo, what's up, man? Hey, welcome to the chat, my friend. If you have any D&D questions, by all means, ask away. Artificers first showed up in Eberron, which was 3.5.
Yep.
And they were very built for their world.
Welcome, traveler.
Oh, thank you, David, for the follow. Welcome to the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale, pull up a chair, have fun, and don't fireball my goddamn tavern. I'm tired of basically paying for the repair costs in gold. I swear you guys, you know how some people drink, like tavern owners say, yeah, my customers drink away my profits, or some of my workers drink away my profits? No, it's like my patrons literally burn my profits out of my fucking tavern. Because you bastards keep lighting shit on fire. I swear to God, I attract pyromaniacs. But anyway, with Eberron, as we were saying, oh, Skysteel Hatchet, that's cool. Eberron was very much a product of its time. How do you set up bits? Oh, you're talking about for streaming. You have to be an affiliate to do that, and then you go into the settings, and under the affiliate setup, you can do bits. Same with donations. For donations, I use something else, and it is not... there it is, Ko-fi. I use Ko-fi, which I'm going to move that over here. Here's my Ko-fi. Actually, I'll put it up here.
And by the way, hi to Andy Uchiha too.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Andy. Sorry, I missed that. It was just like a lot of people just messaging. He's like, oh, shit.
Yep.
Thank you for the Smurf check-in, by the way, Andy. Thank you so much. So as we were saying about Artificers, they're very much a product of their time. We had that explosion. People wanted that increase in technology. Mm-hmm. And someone just fireballed my tavern.
Someone, you say?
That would be the Inquisition.
Skulls for the Skull Throne!
There he is. Yeah.
Heresy detected.
Heresy
detected.
Yeah, heresy has been detected.
Brother, get the flamer.
The heavy flamer. Oh, where is it? I have it.
Welcome to the grim darkness of the future, where fun isn't allowed, happiness is banned, peace doesn't exist, and there's only war.
All right. We're a little bit of 40K fans here.
Yeet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeet.
Yeet, indeed. All right. So, Artificers were a product of their time. They were very much... People wanted that technology in their magic.
Yeah.
And this was due to the fact of several things that came out roughly during that time. There were several movies and shows that mixed magic and technology on several occasions. One of the inspirations they said for Eberron was the techno mages from Babylon 5.
Okay.
Which, that very much makes sense when you look at them comparatively to, you know, what the Artificer does.
Uh-huh.
So there's that. And there was always that gadgeteer desire as well. Like you said before.
Yeah, the steampunk kind of aesthetic that's been going for a while. There's like TeslaCon and things like that where people do the steampunk stuff. There's the webcomic Girl Genius, which is, you know, really popular with the steampunk set.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who doesn't love a mad inventor?
So when you look at Eberron, though, they incorporate a lot of steampunk elements. You have the lightning train, or the lightning rail, and you have airships, and that's been around since God knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
And but the airship really picked up steam, though, I would say, after Final Fantasy made it more mainstream.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Yeah, no pun intended. But they really did improve it that way, and so what we picture as the classical airship did kind of come from Final Fantasy, you know, with the propellers, the little dirigible blimp thing, and that image has become almost codified by the steampunk community, in a way.
Yeah, I mean the relatively few examples of like airships I can think of before. I'm trying to remember dates of Final Fantasy releases, but like the Forgotten Realms has a realm of mages called Haurua that had magical flying ships. They're not like magic technology; they're just straight up magic, and they're kind of like airships. And then you've got like Spelljammer.
If this helps you, Final Fantasy 1, which is where airships appeared in the first place,
Yep.
was 1987.
Yeah.
That
sounds right.
I want to see if airships. Let me see. Airships first appearance. I want to see. Sorry, Final Fantasy 3.
Ah.
So it was Final Fantasy 3 that had them, and that was 1990.
Okay.
So you got anything from earlier than 1990 is pre-Final Fantasy airship.
Right, but Final Fantasy definitely made it more popular and sort of gave us that technology blend in there.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially with 6. Final Fantasy 6 definitely had that technomancy stuff to it where people couldn't use magic, so therefore they've developed a technology that acted like magic.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really pushed it forward. And so when you're thinking about Artificers, be in that mindset. You want to be in the steampunk mindset. You want to be in that Magitech mindset because that will help you with your character. because that's where the idea first came from, and if you go with a simpler mindset, it will help you. So let's talk about their stats, because this is important. Stat number 1 for an artificer, hands down, no argument, is intelligence.
Brainy boys.
They are the smart people. Dan Grizzy, hello everyone. My positive message today: optimism is a happiness magnet. If you stay positive, good things and good people will be drawn to you. Thank you for the positive vibes. I almost said Optimus. I was like, yes, Optimus Prime is a happiness magnet.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
I was like, my tongue-tiedness is always creating entertaining stupidity. But I laugh at my own self. That's damn good tea. Alright, so with Artificers, you definitely want to be a brainy boy. They're one of the few intelligence casters. The only other intelligence caster that exists is Wizard. Every other caster is either... Lots of them are Charisma, and you got a couple in Wisdom.
Yeah.
Which is okay. It's not the end of the world. Part of me really wishes sometimes there'd be more intelligence casters.
Sure.
It'd be kind of nice, but hey, we work with what we got. Alright. Then second one, Dex or Con. And this is for 5th ed, mind you. AC, it will be helpful if you raise your Dex. Not to mention, if you use ranged weapons, that relies on Dex. Alright. Con is HP, always helpful. And then you get Strength, Wisdom, and Charisma. They're all dumb stats for Artificers for the most part. Unless you're going for a particular build, which is like the Battlesmith or any kind of frontline Artificer, then you would do that. We put a decent amount into Strength to wear the heavier armor.
Yeah.
But you don't even have to do that. Like, it helps, but it's not the end of the world, because Artificers have abilities to where their intelligence becomes their strength for armor wearing and weapon use.
Nice.
So you can get around it if you do the right build. That's the important thing. Wisdom is technically a dumb stat, but it does complement several of their skills, so I would put it higher than Strength and Charisma. And Charisma is just flat out a dumb stat.
Yeah, you don't want to be the face of your party. You can be the weird nerd that smells funny.
Yeah, I smell a little funny. Why is that? Because I'm building shit. It's like, oh, that's not good. All right, so I mentioned builds. Let's talk about some of their subclasses, because they don't have a lot, because they're still new to 5th ed.
Yes.
All right, and that's a key thing to remember. All right. First one we're going to talk about is Alchemist. If you're going to build an Alchemist Artificer, most people think, oh, I'm going to mix like little funny potions, I'm going to throw bombs, whatever. Got news for you. They're more of a healer and support build than they are an offensive build. Which is kind of interesting how they work it, but it's not terrible. They get things like Healing Word as a spell, for instance. So they can use their bonus action to... excuse me. They can use their bonus action to essentially heal people. Which is damn helpful. Raven Wolf, evening. Hope you're having a wonderful stream. Just check in from the Smurfs and to look around. Hey, lurks are okay.
Don't forget to use the Smurf check-in.
Yep. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, use that Smurf check-in, please, so that way I remember to make sure you get your credit. So there is that. They get an experimental elixir that's a little hard to guess what it's going to do, because it is kind of random. So it is a kind of a downside. They get Alchemical Savant. They get to add their intelligence modifier to their healing abilities and all their alchemical special spells they get as an Artificer. Alright, so let me talk about some of the crazy spells they get from that. Alright, at 3rd level they get Healing Word and Ray of Sickness. Both of those are good. Healing Word is better, but Ray of Sickness is still useful. Alright, I wouldn't argue against it. 5th level, you get Flaming Sphere and Mel's Acid Arrow. You have some combat abilities now. Flaming Sphere, I feel, is a decent combat ability, but I see it as more of a control ability.
Sure.
Because you could basically put it somewhere and go, nobody's going through this square without burning. And that's really useful for controlling the battlefield.
Okay.
At 9th level, you get Gaseous Form and Mass Healing Word. Mass Healing Word is amazing. Gaseous Form is fun as hell as a good escape method. It's basically your ninja vanish. 13th level, you get Blight and Death Ward. The problem with Blight is Blight is not overly useful. Like, how do I put it? Like, Blight is an excellent debuff, I think it is. I think Blight's a debuff. I haven't seen it that often, so I have to look it up. Blight is necromantic energy washes over a creature of your choice within range, draining moisture and vitality from it. It says make a Constitution saving throw. Target takes 8d8 necrotic damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one. Has no effect on undead and constructs. If you target a plant creature or magical plant, they make the saving throw with disadvantage. The spell deals maximum damage to them. If you target a non-plant, a magical plant that isn't a creature, such as a tree or shrub, it doesn't make a saving throw. It just simply withers and dies.
I mean, that is a pretty good single target hit against a creature within 30 feet.
Yeah, within 30 feet. I would call it decent. There are better spells that do that, but not by much. Like, I wouldn't say this is a no-go on a spell, but it's decent.
Right. I compare it to, like, Fireball would hit multiple targets. It's one level lower. It's got better range, and it does 8d6 instead of 8d8.
Yeah.
But this is a pretty nasty one, and it's situationally very nasty for, like, a plant creature or magical plant.
Or if your DM has, like, a whole big giant shrubbery in your way from, like, getting into a room.
Yes, if your GM's pulling some Monty Python shit on you.
Yeah, he's like, fuck that thing. Death Ward, you touch a creature and grant a measure of protection from death. First time the target would drop to 0 hit points. As a result of taking damage, they drop to 1 instead. The spell ends. If the spell is still in effect when the target is subject to an effect that would kill it instantly without dealing damage, that effect is negated instead of against the target, and the spell ends.
Death Ward, comes from the 3rd edition era, and I am a fan of it in all its forms, just because instant death effects suck. You don't come up against them that often, but it is nice to go, okay, we're getting ready to fight this Lich. He's probably got some kind of power word kill thing going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's situationally good.
Yes.
It's situationally good, but I wouldn't call it amazing.
No, it's not I'm going to use this every combat spell like, Healing Word is.
Yeah. And then 17th level, you get the following spells, which is Cloud Kill and Raise Dead.
I mean, Raise Dead, you can't argue with being able to access that.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I wouldn't call it good. Your goal is kind of never to use it. That's kind of a goal. So I wouldn't call it a useful spell. I would say out of those two, I would use Cloud Kill more than Raise Dead.
Sure. It is, however, nice to have someone who isn't the cleric who can cast Raise Dead just in case the cleric dies.
The cleric bites it, yep. Beginning at 3rd level, you get an experimental elixir. You roll on a table and it's a 6-sided die. You roll a d6. At 6th level, what is it? At 3rd level, you make 1. At 6th level, you can make 2. 15th level, you can make 3. So, you can have all of those up. And you can create an additional elixir by expending a spell slot of 1st level or higher. So, if you really need the elixir.
Yeah.
And that is almost like the wild magic ability, I would say. Because you have... Here are the options. Healing. You get 2d4 plus your intelligence modifier and hit points, or someone does. Swiftness, the drinker's speed increases by 10 feet for 1 hour. Resistance, you get a +1 to AC for 10 minutes. boldness. The drinker can roll d4 and add that number to every attack roll and saving throw they make for the next minute. So, aka bless.
Yeah.
Flight, you gain a flying speed of 10 feet for 10 minutes. And transformation. Your body is transformed by the alter self spell. The drinker determines the transformation caused by the spell, and the effects of which last 10 minutes.
Not bad.
It is not bad, but the problem with it is you don't control what you get.
Right.
And there is the problem.
I mean, it's not like wild magic where you can accidentally fireball your party, but yeah, you might need that healing and get, the flight speed. Then you're like, well,
fuck.
Shit.
Well, shit. At 5th level, you get Alchemical Savant. You mastered basically being an alchemist. Any healing and damaging you create with your alchemy abilities gets increased. Let me see. Whenever you cast a spell using the supplies of the spellcasting focus, you gain a bonus to the one roll of the spell. That roll must restore hit points or deal damage of acid, fire, necrotic, or poison. And that bonus equals your intelligence modifier. So, not terrible.
No.
It's useful. At 9th level, you get Restorative Agents. Whenever a creature drinks an experimental elixir you create, they gain temporary hit points equal to 2d6 plus your intelligence modifier. That's stupidly useful.
Yeah, that makes the elixir a lot more useful because at least you're always going to get some temporary hit points.
And temporary hit points are amazing.
Yeah.
Especially in 5th ed. They are so helpful all the time. Also, you can cast Lesser Restoration without expending a spell slot and without preparing the spell, provided you use the alchemical supplies as a spellcasting focus. You can do so a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you can finish a long rest. So you get free Lesser Restoration.
Yep.
And let's be brutally honest, your intelligence modifier is likely going to be 5.
Yes.
So at least 5 times a day, you can go, oh, hi, that poison that fucked you up. Let's restore some of those stat points. Like, it's...
Lesser Restoration in 5e and Poison in 5e. Poison doesn't do ability damage. Does anything do ability damage in 5e?
There are some things that do. I used Poison as an example because that's the older editions.
Right.
And for people, it makes sense. In 5e, there are some monsters that have special attacks that do ability damage.
Right, but Lesser Restoration can also do, like, certain conditions, right?
Yes, let me look up.
Like Fatigue, which can be deadly.
Never mind. It removes conditions. It doesn't restore stats anymore.
Okay. That's still really good.
It removes either one disease or one condition affecting it. The condition can be blinded, deafened, paralyzed, or poisoned.
Okay, so it can remove the poisoned condition, which gives you disadvantage on, all your rolls, which is nasty.
Yep. And at 15th level, it says you've been exposed to so many chemicals. I love how they word that. It's like, you've been exposed to so much shit. That you gain the following effects. You gain resistance to acid and poison damage, and you're immune to the poison condition.
Nice.
Which is nice. And now you can cast Greater Restoration and Heal without expending spell slots.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That is
little
really
Kawaii
nice.
Mistress in the chat.
Oh, yep. Thank you. Hey, Kawaii Mistress. How's it going? Welcome. If you're from any of the Discords I'm a part of, by all means, please use the check-in down below. Yeah, we're talking about D&D. Yeah. I play like a video game in the background to give you guys something to watch while we're discussing it, so it's not just my face the whole time. So there is that. I also have a French D&D Twitch. That is so cool. Oh, nice.
Nice.
Nice. It's always nice to see D&D in other countries because they always have different viewpoints than what we're used to seeing here.
Yeah.
And that can make some interesting interactions. Hey, if you want a free translation, I can give you a site. Cool. Having the ability to translate French might be helpful.
I think though that the links. I think she means like transitions, like for your stream, like if you're transitioning for.
Oh no, I got a transition. I have a transition.
Yeah, he might be set as far as that goes. But,
Yeah, I'm okay for now. Yeah. Sorry. So that's Alchemist, and Alchemist is kind of neat. Alchemist does their thing. The next one down, I believe, is Armor. All right, Armor is hands down an amazing subclass. You're basically, how do I put it? You're basically like a fighter craftsman, which is kind of wild.
Yeah. There's some fun, I guess, history around archetypes like that. I remember that Rifts, of all games, had in the Mystic Russia book the Mystic Kuznia, which is sort of like a Mystic Smith type, which was always pretty interesting. But
Yep. So the armor gets the following abilities. One, they get tools of the trade, which they gain proficiency automatically in heavy armor, which is damn nice. They also get proficiency in smith's tools. If they already have that, they get proficiency in any tool of their choice. Are you the DM or a player? I've been both. I've been both a DM and a player. I tend to be the DM more often than not. We call this Tabletop Tuesday, where we discuss D&D. We educate people on it and try to help things.
Yeah, what games are you playing right now?
Let's see. Friday, I'm in Inquisition's game, and I'm a player. And I'm playing a Tiefling Kineticist.
Hey, Max, Dadbot.
Yeah, man. You have a great time. Gonna watch TV with the wife, and then I'll be back to give you a hard time. That's A-okay, man. You have fun with the wife. So that's my Friday character. Saturday, we have alternating games, and I'm the DM in both. One is our in-person evil game. Mine is a Tiefling, too. They are so cool. Yeah, Tieflings are a nice race to play. They have a lot of interesting backstory to them, especially if you know how to build them in the right way with a certain class. You can build some interesting stories that way. I play her like a succubus. That's what my wife plays on Saturdays in the in-person game. She's playing her Tiefling as a succubus. The opposing Saturday game is the online game, and it is good aligned. They're going after lots of undead, things of that nature. And then Sunday, I have a non-D&D game called Scion, which is set in modern day, and you're the child of one of the deities of myth. So like Vikings or Egyptians or Greek pantheon, whatever. There's a bunch. I'll send you the drawing of mine. She'll probably like it. Sure. If you want, you can do that. If you join the Discord, there's a link down below.
That's what I was going to say.
You could post it there.
Do you guys play the first edition of Scion or the new one?
I think it's the first edition.
Okay.
I want to say it's first. That's what I think. So those are the games I'm in right now. What about you, man?
I am, of course, a GM and player both as well. Right now, I am playing in, I can't believe it, 3 games. This is the most I've played in a while.
3 games, yeah.
I've got a monthly 5th edition D&D game where I'm playing a bard, a half-elf bard. I've got a twice-a-month game where I'm playing champions. And I'm playing like the brick character. I've got a weekly game that's essentially just a rotating game that we play different stuff, and we're playing Pathfinder, and I'm the party cleric. And then the games that I'm GMing, I've got a Guardians of the Galaxy style space superhero game once a month, and a Call of Cthulhu game once a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12-year-olds, I mean, it depends on the game. It depends on the kid. Some kids are good ready to take on that stuff. I started gaming probably around age 10.
I was 9 when I started.
Yeah. So if you got the right kind of game and the right kind of kid, that can work. But yeah, if you're running like a more mature game, then it's not a good fit for the kid.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. I forgot one game. I forgot. There's a game I attend every other week at the Four Horsemen. That's run by fucking Takashi, I think is his name on here.
Okay. I believe that's correct, Takashi.
Yeah, I want to say Takashi. Yep. And it's a 5th ed game, and I'm playing a Echo Knight Fighter. So
Yeah, I remember seeing you guys up there some weekends when I'm doing my 40K stuff.
yeah, your 40K stuff. I kid like in there Jericho, but rather not in D&D, and that's your personal preference, and it's okay to have that personal preference. I put the picture in general. Okay.
Welcome, traveler.
Oh, welcome. Thank you, little kawaii mistress, for joining the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale, pull up a chair, have fun, and don't fireball my damn tavern. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh, that is a nice picture.
Yeah.
That's good art. Very nice. Anyway, with the Artificer, geez, we've gotten well off the beaten path.
Yeah.
But that's A-okay.
You were talking about the armorer.
Yeah, the armor. So to get those tool proficiency stuff, and god damn it, Squidgy, and fireball in my damn tavern. So armor gets certain spells. All right, so let's talk about the spells. I can double follow and use a cool mimic. I did artist. Okay. So at 3rd level they get magic missile and thunder wave. Both of those are pretty good, depending on what you're aiming for. 5th level you get mirror image and shatter, which mirror image is honestly better.
I mean, mirror image has been just fantastic for ages and ages.
Yeah, it's really hard to beat it. 9th level you get hypnotic pattern or lightning bolt. Lightning bolt is great if you want to do a lot of damage. Hypnotic pattern is great if you want to manipulate the fight.
I love hypnotic pattern so much as my lore bard. We had a manticore coming in to attack us, and it was up in the air, getting ready to dive bomb us. I hit it with hypnotic pattern, which basically reduces its speed to 0, and since it does not have a hover speed, that means it falls immediately to the ground and takes the damage.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that does break the hypnosis, but that essentially puts it prone and with a bunch of falling damage.
Dark Dungeons and Dices, welcome. Little mimics. It's a little angry mimic. Oh, we'll talk about mimics later. That's going to be fun, because you could do all kinds of horrifying things with mimics.
Oh, yeah. We should definitely do some, favorite monster stuff.
Oh, yeah, things you can do with some of your favorite monsters. He has a little hat. Yeah, speaking of hats, I have a hat. Hey, Faye, how's it going? Here's my little hat. Doesn't quite fit on my head with the headset.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
Still a neat hat.
Yeah, I like it.
Hey, Glistening Fey Fox.
Yep. It's Glistening Fey Fox. Yep. I'm surprised. Let me do his thing. Alright. Did I not do that? Is it Fey Fox? There it is.
With a sword in one hand and a harp in the other, shouting my greatness from the rooftops, laying bitches and slaying witches. Or is it laying witches and slaying bitches? I can't quite remember. I was too busy giving the tavern owner a reason to stay in business.
Thank you, Dark Dungeon Dices, for the follow. Welcome to the tavern. Grab yourself a mug of ale, pull up a chair, have fun, and don't fireball my damn tavern. All right.
We got YKTV Kev redeeming the Smurf check-in.
Yeah, welcome, my friend. All right. So, right there, you have Hypnotic Pattern, which is fucking... Squidgy, Squidgy, I love you, my bro, but you are a bastard. Oh, that makes my heart rate go up every time I hear it. Mimic disguised as a hat. Yep. I've seen that before. I've also heard of something called goggle mimic.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. Nasty, nasty things. So that's just what you get at 9th level. A 9th level hypnotic pattern is stupidly useful. And Faye just fireballed my tavern again. I swear I'm going to be...
alright. You hadn't rebuilt it since...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's just more char for the freaking pile. Gods.
Really, this is less a tavern at this point and more just an outdoor bistro.
Oh, God. Outdoor barbecue. Fucking. Oh, hell. All right. So that 13th level, you get 2 different spells, and I held up 3 fingers. I meant to hold up 2. Fire Shield and Greater Invisibility. Fire Shield is okay if you're going to be a combat artificer. Greater Invisibility is more useful.
Yeah.
17th level, you get Pass Wall and Wall of Force.
Nice.
Wall of Force can be helpful and really useful. Pass Wall lets you basically walk through a wall. Not much, Kev. Hopefully your night's going well. Oh, excuse me, I had a hiccup there. So, both of those spells are decent. They're good. I wouldn't call them great, but they do their job. And I think you could agree with me on that one.
Yeah.
All right. 3rd level for their special abilities now. You get Arcane Armor. If the armor has a strength requirement, the Arcane Armor lacks this requirement for you. So, aka, you can wear heavy armor now. You can use the Arcane Armor as a spellcasting focus for your spells.
Nice.
The armor attaches to you and cannot be removed against your will. It also expands to cover your entire body, although you can retract and deploy the helmet as a bonus action.
You're Iron Man.
You're Iron Man. The armor replaces any missing limbs, functioning identically to a body part it is replacing. And you can don and doff the armor as an action.
Yeah, it's Iron Man. I love it.
Yeah. Faye Fox is going, I'll play music at your destroyed tavern. Alright. At 3rd level, you get Armor Model. You get to choose 2 different types of armor. You have Guardian and Infiltrator. Okay? Guardian gives you Thunder Gauntlets. Each one of the armor's gauntlets count as a melee weapon if you're not holding anything into it, and deals 1d8 thunder damage on a hit. Creature hit by the gauntlet has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you until the start of your next turn, as the armor magically emits a distracting pulse when the creature attacks someone else.
Nice.
Defensive Field. As a bonus action, you gain temporary hit points equal to your level in this class, replacing any temporary hit points you already have. You lose those hit points if you doff the armor. You can use a bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and regain all expended uses on a long rest.
Very nice.
I need the gigs. That's fair. That's fair. We could all use the extra money. And that's the Guardian one. So you want to wear that armor if you want to be the combat guy. And it's very much built for getting into the thick of the fray. Infiltrator. Lightning Launcher. This gem-like node appears in one of your armored fists or in your chest, your choice, and counts as a simple range weapon. A normal range of 90 feet with a long range of 300 feet, and it deals 1d6 lightning damage on a hit. Once on each of your turns, when a creature is hit with it, you can deal an extra 1d6 lightning damage to your target. Remember how you said it was Iron Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Repulsor blasts.
Repulsor blasts. Powered steps. Your walking speed increases by 5 feet. Dampening field. You have advantage on dexterity stealth checks. If the armor normally imposes disadvantage, even if the armor normally imposes disadvantage on these checks, the advantage and disadvantage cancel each other out as normal. So you can have Infiltrator full plate.
Yes.
Which, that's fucked up.
Pretty impressive.
Yep. At 5th level, you get extra attack like a fighter does. At 9th level, you get armor modifications. You learn how to use your infusions to modify your armor. The armor now counts as separate items for the purposes of infusing items feature armor, chest piece, boots, helmet, and the armor special weapon. Each of these items can bear one of your infusions, and the infusions transfer over if you change your armor's model with the armor model feature. In addition, the maximum number of items you can infuse now increases by 2. But those items must be part of your arcane armor.
Yeah.
My back just itched. I hate it when that happens. So essentially, you can now infuse magical your entire gear set, because normally you're only allowed 3 items that are connected to you. But now you can carry 5 with an artificer, or the equivalent of 5, which is damn helpful. Perfected armor. At 15th level, you get additional benefits for the armor. Guardian. When a huge or smaller creature you see ends its turn within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to magically force the creature to make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC, pulling the creature up to 30 feet towards you to an unoccupied space. If you pull the target to a space within 5 feet of you, you can now make a melee weapon attack against it as part of this reaction. You can use this reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses on a long rest. So essentially, get over here! You're now incorporating Scorpion into your Iron Man. Infiltrator. Any creature that takes lightning damage from your lightning launcher glimmers with magical light until the start of your next turn. That glimmering creature sheds dim light 5-foot radius and has disadvantage on all attack rolls against you as the light jolts if it attacks you. In addition, the next attack roll against it has advantage. If that attack hits, the target takes an extra 1d6 lightning damage.
Nice.
So it's really helpful. Would I call this one of the best ones? It's really damn good.
Yeah.
Like, I have a hard time saying, I would probably count this as one of the better ones.
It seems really cool and useful.
Yeah, it's really hard to say, if this is the best or one of the others is. My favorite classes are Bard Monk. That's an interesting combo.
I do love the Bard. I haven't played Monk in 5th edition.
They have a lot of mobility. They have a lot of damage output, but that's about it. They're not as they can't be as tanky as they were before. They're a little bit more squishy. All right, the next one is Artillerist. If you want to be basically, I have big gun, play an Artillerist.
Have you tried Mordaka?
Yes.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Surprise, motherfucker! Thank you, Dark. Yeah, Mordaka. Because that is just... Yeah, Mordaka. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Daka is essentially more shooting.
Yes.
Lots and lots of guns and more shooting. And that's essentially what the Artillerist is. You are the fucking Daka.
Yes.
Tool proficiencies. You get a wood carving proficiency, which I have zero clue why they fucking gave them that, but whatever.
Yeah.
The biggest advantage is you can craft your own arrows and crossbow bolts. By the time... Oh, I gotta hydrate.
Leroy Jenkins.
Yep. Leroy, let's go. Now, at low levels, it helps. You can make your own crossbow bolts. You can make your own arrows. Those are really helpful aspects. You can carve up some javelins. And the party might have the ability to, yep, more of the tavern steins. that might be helpful to you and your party. But once you get past a certain level, it's not nearly as helpful. Because you can only shoot so many arrows. You can only shoot so many crossbows.
Right, and a lot of campaigns are not going to make you track your ammunition.
Not unless you're in a situation where, like, ammunition's going to be rare. And it's going to be a while before you restock.
Yeah.
And that's the big time when I track ammunition. It's like, okay, it's going to be a while before you get to a town to restock. Let's keep track of ammunition.
Right.
So there is that. Alright, so let's talk about their spells. Because, oh boy. Let's have fun with this. So, third level, you get Shield and Thunderwave. I feel like Shield should have been on the armor one.
Uh-huh.
And the Magic Missile should have been on this one.
Sure.
Just from the way it feels. But, I mean, Shield is a great spell. It's a very handy spell. As an artillerist, you shouldn't be getting hit.
Yeah.
That's kind of a goal. Fifth level, you get Scorching Ray and Shatter. Both of those are good spells for the artillerists, because the artillerists would actually use Shatter. But Scorching Ray is amazing for them as well. Ninth level, you get Fireball and Wind Wall.
I mean, what can you say about Fireball that hasn't already been said?
And it hasn't already been done in my tavern to death. Fucking pyromaniacs, I swear. My DM let me have a companion. That was fun. Oh my god. Oh, that could be entertaining to say the least.
You could put a little treehouse in its branches and, walk it around like a vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
So what about Wind Wall in 5th edition?
It behaves very similar to, like, 3035 / Pathfinder. Strong wind. You can make the wall up to 50 feet long, 15 feet high, a foot thick. You can shape it in any way you choose as long as it makes one continuous path on the ground. It lasts for the duration, which is up to 1 minute with a concentration. When the wall appears, each creature in the area must make a strength saving throw. Creature takes 3d8 bludgeoning damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one. It keeps fog, smoke, and other gases at bay. Small or smaller flying creatures can't pass through the wall. Loose lightweight materials brought up to the wall fly upward. Arrows, bolts, and other ordinary projectiles launched at targets behind the wall drift directed upward and automatically miss. Boulders hurled by giants or siege engines and other similar projectiles are basically unaffected. Creatures in gaseous form can't pass through it.
I think that might be a little stronger than it used to be, actually.
Yes, it is, because it does damage now.
Yes.
Beforehand, it didn't.
Yeah, I don't remember if it made missiles like automatically miss before,
Yep.
or if it was just a mischance.
No, it was automatically miss. Wind wall was auto miss. That was the big reason why you took it as a caster, so you could throw that up and chuck your spells through the wall.
Gotcha.
It's like, no, I don't want to get sniped by the friggin' ranger. Fuck you. 13th level, you get Ice Storm and Wall Fire. Both of those are really helpful. 17th level, you get Cone of Cold and Wall Force. Both of them, once again. Oh, my nose.
So, solid choices.
Solid choices. Alright, so at 3rd level, you get Eldritch Cannon, which is you make a tiny little magical cannon. It's small or tiny, and it appears in an unoccupied space on the surface within 5 feet of you. The tiny one can be held in your hand. The small one occupies the space. It has to. Once you create a cannon, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, or you expend a spell slot to create one. So it has to be 1st level or higher.
Okay.
You can only have one cannon at a time. You can't create one while your cannon is present. It's a magical object, regardless of size. Has AC of 18, and number of hit points equal to 5 times your Artificer level. It's immune to poison and psychic damage. If it is forced to make an ability check or saving throw, treat all of its ability scores as 10. If the mending spell is cast on it, regains 2d6 hit points. It disappears if reduced to 0 hit points or after 1 hour, and you can dismiss it as early as an action. When you create it, you can determine its appearance, whether it has legs. You can also decide what type it is, choosing from the options below. On each of your turns, you take a bonus action to cause the cannon to activate if you are within 60 feet of it. As part of the same bonus action, you could direct the cannon to walk up to 15 feet to an unoccupied space, provided it has legs. Oh, yeah.
That's adorable.
Oh, yeah. And here are your 3 options. Flamethrower. The cannon exhales an adjacent... Why I have Dimension Door. Very good spell. Oh, yes. Dimension Door is a very good spell, because you can get the fuck away from the walking cannon. The Flamethrower. A cannon exhales fire in an adjacent 15-foot cone that you designate. Each creature in that area must make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC, taking 2d8 fire damage on a failed save, half as much on a successful one. Fire ignites any flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried. Force Ballista. Make a ranged spell attack originating from the cannon. One creature or object within 120 feet. On a hit, it takes 2d8 force damage. If targets a creature, it's pushed up to 5 feet away from the cannon. And then Protector. Cannon emits a burst of positive energy that grants itself and each creature with your choice within 10 feet a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your intelligence modifier.
Neat.
Oh, yeah. I like the Force Ballista.
Yeah.
Out of all those options, I think that's one of the better ones. Flamethrower is a good one if you're dealing with a lot of swarms.
Yeah, but like you say, the Force Ballista, it's decent damage, and that push 5 feet can be very handy in a precarious battlefield.
Oh, yeah. At 5th level, you get Arcane Firearm. You know how to turn a wand, staff, or rod into an arcane firearm, a conduit of your destructive spells. When you finish a long rest, you can use your woodcarver tools to carve special sigils into a wand, staff, or rod, and thereby turn it into your arcane firearm. Sigils disappear from the object if you later carve them on a different item. Sigils otherwise last indefinitely. You can use your arcane firearm as a spellcasting focus for your spells, and when you cast an Artificer spell through the firearm, roll a d8. You gain a bonus to one of your spell's damage rolls equal to the number rolled.
Neat.
Yep. Explosive Cannon. At 9th level, the Eldritch Cannon becomes more destructive. Your cannon's damage rolls become, instead of a d6 now, or not d6, sorry, instead of 2d8, become 3d8 now. And as an action, you can command the cannon to detonate if you're within 60 feet. Doing so destroys the cannon and forces each creature within 20 feet of it to make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC, taking 3d8 force damage on a failed save, half as much on a normal one.
Yeah, not a great damage output, but could be very useful if you have a lot of little, swarmy or minor type enemies that are trying to overrun you.
I would see it as more of a, emergency thing.
Yeah.
Like, I would mainly, if I was dealing with swarms, just pull out the flamethrower cannon and call it a day.
I'm not meaning swarms in the mechanical sense. I'm talking about like a horde of goblins or something.
Well, yeah,
like that.
even like a horde of goblins, I'd still use the flamethrower. Because, if you can bottleneck them.
If you can bottleneck them, but like a cone is just a cone. This is a blast radius.
Yeah.
And if they're overrunning your position, then you might be able to get a lot more of them than the cone.
That's true. And then the last one is Fortified Position. By 15th level, you're the master of well-forming emplacements using Eldritch Cannon. Insane Lawyer. Hey, man, how's it going? Welcome. You and your allies have half cover while within 10 feet of your cannon when you create the Eldritch Cannon as a result of a shimmering field of magical protection the cannon emits. You can now have 2 cannons at the same time. You can create 2 with the same action, but not with the same spell slot. You can activate them both with the same bonus action. You determine whether the cannons are identical to each other or different. You can't create a 3rd cannon while you have 2. How was my day? My day was okay. I had the day off, so I had to keep an eye on my kids, make sure everything was okay. Like, nothing too crazy. My kids behaved fairly well, so I wasn't too terribly worried. But it went off, too. It went off just fine. Hinges engaged. Could do a jail door. Oh, I need stone cutting. So, yeah, my day was alright. So the artillerist is decent if you want to do like boom spell damage.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not terrible. It's not great. But I would still say, out of all of them, it's probably my second favorite. With armor being my first.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Armor is my first. Artillerist is my second. My third is the next one, which is Battlesmith. All right. So the best way to describe Battlesmith compared to armor, while they do a lot of the same things, Battlesmith is more offensive. Armor is more defensive. All right, you with me with that on that? All right, so they don't get heavy armor. And you get proficiency with Smith's tools. If you already have that, you get proficiency with their tools. And then you get the following spells. At third level, you get Heroism and Shield.
Okay.
Not bad. Fifth level, Branding Smite and Warding Bond.
Interesting.
Yep. Ninth level, Aura Vitality and Conjure Barrage.
Okay.
13th level, Aura of Purity, Fire Shield.
Okay.
And then 17th level, Banishing Smite and Cure Mass Wounds.
So you're about half a paladin there.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say. You're more... instead of like wizard fighter, you're like paladin fighter. At third level, you gain the following abilities. You get proficiency with all martial weapons. And when you attack with a magical weapon, you add your intelligence modifier instead of strength or dexterity for the attack and damage rolls.
Oh.
You see what I mean by offense?
Yeah.
They're like, hi, I have really fucking good weapon lists, and I get to add my intelligence to basically kill your ass.
Interesting.
All right. At third level, you get a metal puppy.
Oh.
You get the Steel Defender. Oh, yeah. God damn it. Give me a second. My wife needs a cup of hot water, so I will be right back.
All right.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Sorry, the wife needed a cup of hot water, so my apologies there. Alright, so the Steel Defender. AC 15. Hit points are 2 plus your intelligence modifier times 5 times your level. And they have a defender has a number of hit dice, d8s equal to your artificer level, essentially.
Okay.
Speed is 40 feet. Stats are decent other than charisma, which is to be and intelligence. Oh, excuse me. God, that hurt. Sorry about that. They got some okay skills. They're immune to poison. They cannot be charmed, exhausted, or poisoned. They have dark vision, 60 feet. A passive perception of 10 plus whatever PB times 2 is. Proficiency bonus. Languages, understands any languages you speak. its proficiency bonus equals yours, and it cannot be surprised. Force Empowered Rend, whenever it uses your spell attack modifier to hit, reach 5 feet, target one target you can see, hit 1d8 plus proficiency bonus in force damage. It can heal itself 3 times a day for 2d8 plus proficiency bonus to itself, or one object near it. Direct attack, the defender imposes disadvantage on attack rolls of one creature that you can see within 5 feet, provided the attack roll against the creature is other than the defender. So it helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that is super useful. Let me get you to recruit. It gets an extra attack at level 5, much like a fighter does, which is stupidly helpful. Arcane Jolt at 9th level, it gains the following effects through its strike. You can channel magical energy through the strike to create one of the following effects. Extra 2d6 force damage. Choose one creature or object within 30 feet of the target. Healing flows to the chosen recipient, restoring 2d6.
Not bad.
So you get 2d6 extra damage or 2d6 healing, whichever you choose. You can do it a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, so i.e. 5, more often than not.
Yeah.
And you get regain all expended uses after a long rest. 15th level, the Arcane Jolt and Sealed Defender become more powerful. Extra damage to your Jolt increases to 4d6 instead of 2d6. And the Sealed Defender gains a +2 to AC. Whenever it uses deflect attack, the attacker takes force damage equal to 1d4 plus your intelligence modifier. Or, yeah, deflect attack. Which, deflect attack, the whole imposing disadvantage shit. It does damage every time it imposes disadvantage on someone. So, yeah, Battlesmith is kind of cool. It has some cool stuff to it. And that's the doggy. And everything you get from it. It relies heavily on the dog, but you get a lot of cool stuff from it. It's probably my third favorite. My least favorite is the Alchemist. Because while it does have some cool stuff to it, the healing is nice, but I feel honestly the other subclasses can do healing better. Especially the Battlesmith with the puppy.
Yeah.
That is just amazingly good. With that being said, let's talk about hit points. They have a D8, so that's decent. They're not a tank, but they're all right.
Right.
They get Constitution and Intelligence as their stat saves, which Con is really good. Intelligence, not as much.
Yeah.
You get some cantrips abilities. You're 2/3 caster. You can infuse items, and there's a bunch of infusions. I'm not going to go through them all because, dear God, there's just so many. But I highly recommend looking through them all because you can do some kooky stuff, as well as replicate magical items. Right tool for the job. You technically never receive a free set of tools except for the Thieves' tools, including your starting equipment. You basically can make tools for free.
Yes.
Which is cool. You also have universal expertise with all tools in 5th Ed.
Which is cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, excuse me. So that is helpful. Flash of Genius. You get to add your intelligence modifier to your saving throws. And you can use it up to as many times as you have an intelligence modifier. So,
that's really, really cool.
Yeah, so basically 5 times a day you can get yourself a +5 to a saving throw. Like, dang. Spell storing items, craft magic items. These are all really cool. You get more attuned items with Magic Item Savant and Magic Item Master. Really cool. And then on top of that, if you said go for the armor, Instead of 5 items, now you have 7.
Yeah.
And that's just nutty. With races, anything that gives you intelligence is a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what you need. What you want is intelligence. Lots of it. For skills, the skills I always recommend are for Artificers, Arcana, Investigation, and Perception.
Seems like a good mix.
Yeah, Perception's the most rolled skill in the game. Investigation's good if you want to like really study a scene and you have a high intelligence, so that'll help. And Arcana, you'll need it for making magic items.
Yep.
If you still have skill proficiencies after that, because it's not tied to your intelligence in 5th ed,
Right.
Nature's pretty good. History is situational, but I've seen it be useful. Sleight of hand is not going to be that helpful for an Artificer. You are usually not the stealth person.
Unless you've got the armor and you're doing the infiltrator suit, then maybe consider stealth.
Maybe. For backgrounds, Cran Crafter is an improved version of Guild Artisan. You get a face skill, you get a language, and I think you also get history. So, really helpful. Sage is also really cool. You get 2 intelligence-based skills and 2 free languages. And your background is the only way you get languages in this game.
Yeah.
They really restricted how well you get languages in this game.
Yeah, necessary sacrifice of the linguistic skill.
Yep. Then there's feats. Elemental Adept's good if you're going to do an artillerist. Fey Touch is awesome because you get that short range teleport. Like, really helpful. Lucky's good on everybody.
Lucky's always good, yes.
Meta Magic Adept is good because you're going to be using lots of meta magic shit. Especially with the way your class is built. And Warcaster, if you're a battlesmith or an armorer, you want this.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, you want it for a reason. It's just like, goddamn. So my. I want to keep the Jade Knife. Okay, so that's 109. Trying to figure out if he has anything I want. I could do with the herbal medicines. And oh, you have permacan. I'll grab as much permacan as I can. There we go. Accept. Alright, Artificer weapons. Longbow is a great option for a battlesmith, because your attacks are going to be made with intelligence. Crossbows are not bad, especially a hand crossbow if you get repeating shot and grab a shield. Dagger is pretty much going to be your go-to melee weapon, unless you're a battlesmith or an armorer.
Sure.
If you're an armorer, you're going to take at least a feat improved unarmed strike, because you want to be punching people. You want to be punching them a lot. And then there's rules for firearms, and Artificer is one of the few classes that rule appears in. Why? Because, well, Artificers tend to have guns.
Yeah.
Pistol is the best choice, hands down. It's an amazing choice. Musket is still really good too, but it isn't as good as the pistol. Like, the musket does a little bit more damage, but it also eats up more of your hands. And you can do a pistol and a shield, which makes a killer combo. For armor, scale mail is your starting armor. You probably want to upgrade to half plate, unless you're an armorer, in which case then going up to full plate for armorer or battlesmith is going to be your jam. Other than that, for multi-classing, fighter's not a bad choice. Wizard's not a bad choice. No one else really stands out. I believe that covers that. Oh, I misspelled one of my tags. Whoopsie. Okay, how do you spell it? God damn, I can never spell to save my life.
You have it close. It's just the R and the U are backwards.
Okay. I'm fixing that right now while I remember, because otherwise I'm not gonna remember. I'll be like,
That's fair.
fuck. Oops. Add that. There we go. Now it's updated. Okay. What? There you go. Fixed.
I'll reload the stream and make sure it appears corrected for me.
Yeah, it should.
Yes.
All right, so that is 5th Ed Artificer. You're mainly either going to be the upfront guy or the bang guy. Let's talk about Pathfinder, because Pathfinder didn't get an Artificer.
Right. So Pathfinder does have like an alchemist class, so it's sort of like the alchemist subclass for Artificer.
Yeah, this is true.
But they don't have an official Paizo Artificer.
Yeah.
3.5 had one, and they didn't choose to convert that themselves, but we do have a third-party one we're looking at, right?
Yep, third-party one, done by Adamant Entertainment. So, in 3.5, the Artificer, and this one applies as well, Artificers focused more on magic item creation than doing kooky stuff.
Catch you in a bit, Squidgy.
Yep, catch you in a bit. Enjoy your stir fry. They get simple weapons, light armor, shields. They get a +2 on all craft checks, and eventually it goes up to +6. They may use any skill untrained, and then later on they get a bonus to that.
Yeah.
Which is they get every skill as a trained skill, essentially.
Right.
And then later on, at 20th level, they get the ability to add half their class level to all untrained skill checks.
Yeah.
So you're going to pass almost every skill check. You do get Weird Science, which allows you to imbue items with magical power. Once again, infusions. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, and of course, it's worth noting that one of the big changes from the 3.5 Pathfinder era to 5th edition is the role of magic items. So yeah, we're seeing that this Artificer makes magic items, whereas in 5th edition, you can sort of make temporary magic items, but making permanent ones isn't as much of a thing.
Yeah, and you're more about kooky magical powers than item creation. In this one, you also get at 5th level the ability to consume magical items for their materials and use them to make new magical items, which is super helpful, because there are a lot of times where you'll get a magic item that is completely worthless to your party. It doesn't help you at all, and you're like, fuck, what are we going to do with it? I guess we'll just sell it to the shopkeeper. The Artificer will go, no, give me that. I'm going to consume this, and we're going to make something useful.
Yes.
Which is... The biggest constraints to Artificers are resources and time. Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the problem.
Do they get anything that accelerates the rate at which they...
No.
See, and that is probably the thorny bit.
Yeah, at 6th level they can put metamagic feats into their items, which is useful. And they get the ability to, get those skill things. The ability to make items cheaper or to make items faster has not been added to Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Now, there are traits you can take that can do that, like Hedge Mage. Hedge Mage knocks 5% off, which is, don't get me wrong, helpful.
Sure.
And there are other class abilities you can take, racial abilities that you can intermix with that can also lower the cost. Mainly dwarves. Dwarves are usually the king of that. But aside from that, there's really no feat that does that, like it did in 3.5. Because that was the bane of 3.5, is you would have an artificer that took the legendary, extraordinary, and exceptional craftsman feats, and their XP cost, their gold cost, and their time was knocked off by a 25%.
Yeah.
And if you use that in combination with the wording of how the consumption ability was, you could get free gold, free XP.
Yep. That is exactly what happened in a game I was in.
Yeah, same here. And it was just like the person ended up making another thing that isn't in Pathfinder and hasn't been added, and I think honestly shouldn't, is the dedicated rights. Dedicated rights in 3.5 were little clay dudes. They're about the size of a halfling. And in return, when you start a project, they can finish it for you. That's their whole thing. Whatever craft skill they have, they can finish making the magical item for you. All you have to do is start it.
Yeah.
And so what the artificer I had did was he kept mass producing these little guys in an extra dimensional space, and basically would go in there once a day during the rest time, start as many projects as he could, and then leave, letting them finish it.
Nice.
And whenever he would go back there once a day, like I said, and do that and craziness, he ended up having more gold than or gold pieces of items than there were gold in the world.
Yeah.
It was just like, fuck. It was broken as hell. It was like, damn, guys. So that is the problem with artificers. If you're going to allow them in your game, in a Pathfinder game, keep them in check.
Yeah. I was looking to see if I still had the workup for the monstrosity that I created. There were a bunch of feats that you could throw in there. It was yeah. Woo.
Yeah, it was woo buddy. Yeah, that was something else. But in that game as well, we developed a system. And this is a system I wanted to talk about because some artificers, when you have an artificer in your game, they want to research and develop new tech. Like, they want to build better airships, they want to build better carriages, better weapons, better guns, better armor, whatever you have at it, alright? That's important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how I did research and development is different than what, people would consider. I took inspiration from two sources. My first source was Civilization 5. All right? And its tech tree. So I basically said, okay, I know this tech kind of leads into this tech, which leads into this tech. And I developed levels of technology that had to be met before you could progress into the things you were going for. Like, say you wanted a brigandine with cannons. Well, you have to develop cannons first, which requires you to develop guns, which requires you to also develop better shipbuilding techniques than what was in traditionally Pathfinder.
Yeah.
So, like, there were a few things that led into it. Ow, felt like something bit my collarbone here. And so you had to do this research and development. Well, what skill or what ability do you use for research and development? Well, depends on what you're going for. If you're talking about a building or a vehicle or something along those lines, I used knowledge engineering. I felt like that was a fair skill to use. If you were building guns, like firearms and weapons, I'd use craft Gunsmithing.
Sure. Sorry, I just found one of the feats that made the Artificer scheme so degenerate in the last game I used it.
Oh,
and it's
no.
actually a piezo core feat.
Oh, no.
Cooperative crafting.
Ah.
Yeah, 1 rank in any craft skill, any item creation feat, or the prereqs. Benefit: you can assist another character in crafting mundane and magic items. You must both possess the relevant craft skill or feat, but either one of you can fulfill any other prerequisites for crafting the item. You provide a +2 circumstance bonus on any craft or spellcraft checks related to making an item, and your assistance doubles the GP value of items that can be crafted each day.
Oh, Jesus. That's 2,000 gold a day.
And there isn't a stated cap on additional people helping, so you can get more and more doublings. And if your GM, as mine was, insisted that doubling a doubling is 4 times, not 3 times,
Yeah.
it gets degenerate.
And God help you if you use dedicated rights.
Well, I hadn't even heard of the dedicated rights. That's why I was looking for these notes. The way we did it was, the Artificer took Eldritch Heritage, so you can get the Arcane Sorcerer Bloodline power to get a Familiar. You'd have the Familiar take the Valet archetype, which lets the Familiar get cooperative crafting and share all of its master's crafting skills and feats.
Oh, Jesus.
And then you got leadership, and you do the leadership chain, so you essentially have a whole network of artificers. Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, and then, like I said, you had freaking dedicated rights on top of that. Good gods.
Yeah, I was crafting 2 billion gold pieces worth of magic items in 4 hours.
God damn. It's like, fuck it, everything is mine. Like, I'm gonna go... It's like, excuse me, I'm gonna go bankrupt the plane of Earth.
Yeah, and then for, like, reducing the cost, you have the Spark of Creation trait that you mentioned, I think, and Kobold Press's Frugal Crafting feat.
Oh, no, I had Hedge Mage.
Okay, Hedge Mage.
Hedge Mage, which is 5%.
Yeah, Spark of Creation's 5%, but Frugal Crafting means you pay, instead of 50% of the cost of an item, 33%.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Hey, this is gonna get a little broken.
Oh, it got a lot broken.
Oh, yeah. But with R&D, so what I had was anytime the character had downtime, he would spend a day doing a single check each day. And that check would add to the total point value. And then once he hit a certain amount of points towards his tech, he would discover a new technology. So, very much like Civilization 5. But I added a caveat to it, and Stellaris was my inspiration for this caveat. The larger the area you were attempting to improve the tech on, the more costly the point value was.
Okay, yeah, the more you need this knowledge to be spread around, the harder it is to do.
Yeah. And that's how I did it. And I took Stellaris as my inspiration for that. And the player totally agreed with it, and he worked on it. And he eventually got up to Western firearms before the game fell apart. Like, he had a 6-shooter, ability to make a 6-shooter, and the ability to make a standard, like, bolt-action rifle.
Right on.
And that was after, like, 6 months of just, like, working on this every free day he had.
Right.
So, there's that. So he put a lot of work into it.
And I will interject at this point, just for those listening, make sure if you want to do this sort of thing, clear it with your GM, because it is it's some extra work on them. It's going to transform their world. Make sure it plays in with what they want to do.
Yeah. This is definitely something you have to talk to your GM or DM about. Like, definitely. Because, like he said, it will change the world. It is a lot of extra work. Because the DM or GM has to create the tech tree.
Yeah.
And that can take a long-ass time. It took me the better part of a month to come up with the tech tree. And I didn't even have it fully completed. I had it up to World War II tech.
Nice.
And it was like, I figured it's like, there's no way this game's going on long enough for him to get all the way to past World War II tech. And yes, that included the bomb. Which was, oh my god, a shit ton of fucking R&D points.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was just craziness how bad it was, but he was gung ho for it. He was definitely gearing up towards it. The gunslinger we had in the party also was doing her own thing where she was trying to do R&D for guns to improve her gun. And that did cause, unfortunately, arguments.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It sucks, but shit happens. What else I was going to say about R&D? R&D characters should probably be intelligence characters. You can argue that non-intelligence characters can do R&D, but it would be difficult for them. And always remember, necessity is the mother of invention. So there has to be a need for what they're trying to do. Don't just be like, oh, I'm just willy-nilly creating, like, a battleship, even though we're not at war. It's like, why? Why would you think about this? What is the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, it always begs the question, like, why are we doing this? And that's R&D. I mean, if you have any thoughts to add for the R&D thing.
No, just I want to make sure that people know that that's a whole extra layer of stuff that the GM has to deal with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, like, do be careful. So with that, we got the next topic, which is virtual tabletops. Now, I use Roll20 for a virtual tabletop. I think you do the same.
Yeah, Roll20 is the one that I have the most experience with.
Yeah. I know there's Foundry. What else is there? Let me see if I can find virtual tabletops. Oh, someone died. We had someone die. Oh no. I'll put the freaking thing down there. Alright. So let's see what else. There's apparently Realm Engine. Okay, it says 11 best tabletops for. Let's see what they have here. I see. Rise of Virtual Tabletops. What are they? Yet we don't care. Blah blah blah. Roll20 is number one.
Yeah,
that makes sense. The reason why Roll20 does so well is it's simple.
Mm-hmm.
It does what it needs to do. Doesn't have any crazy bells and whistles. But as a DM, you can throw in a map real quick. You can throw in your minis, and it takes you like 5-10 minutes at most. Especially if your players go in a direction you did not plan for.
Yeah.
So there's cool. It also has dynamic lighting built into it, though you have to subscribe for that, or somebody in the game has to.
Right.
The cons, like the pros, they say are free to play, built-in game finding options, dice and ability macros, wide native support for official D&D content, dynamic lighting, token animation, easy to set up and use. Roll20 mobile beta completely offers computer-free playing options. You can actually play this on your damn phone on Roll20.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. The cons, though, are their subscription model is not exactly cost-effective. for all if not using the free version. The limited storage space for free users, it's not terrible, not great.
Yeah.
Can be buggy with a clunkier user interface than Roll20 alternatives. And official contents licenses are expensive.
Yeah.
I will say Roll20 is amazing for 5th Ed. They did a great job on 5th Ed. Pathfinder could use a little bit more work, though. Because there are some things that are in Pathfinder that the Roll20 doesn't have. Mainly spells and some class abilities. So there's that. Foundry requires a once $50 payment by the Dungeon Master.
Yes.
So there's that. It can be pretty. It can be very well made. And it has a lot of customization options. You can set up how you like. Self-hosted options mean no limit on storage space beyond what your computer can offer. Smoother user interface, macro options, one-time purchase by only one player can be cheaper in the long run. Dynamic lighting and collision-enabled walls can be included in the base game. And it supports animated files from map software. It is really cool. It requires a computer or server, though, to host a game, which is a bit annoying. It's moderately complex technical setup required. So you have to be a little bit more computer savvy for Foundry versus, say, Roll20.
Yeah.
They have no official content. Foundry still to this day does not have an official license with D&D. And that is a problem.
Yeah.
Like, if Foundry wanted to be competitive, they need to fix that. Like, they need to talk it over with Wizards of the Coast. And they can be overly intensive on lower-end computers. So Foundry is not great for low-end computers.
Good to know.
Yeah, it could burn out your graphics card pretty hard. All right. Then we got Fantasy Grounds. $4 a month or $10 a month or $40 or $150, yearly. With a higher cost license, others can play in your game for free.
Yeah, a friend of mine has like the big Foundry license.
Yeah. Its pros are it's the longest standing virtual tabletop. It's designed with D&D first. No other games, all the other games are second. I consider that both a pro and a con.
Sure.
Because if you want to play something outside of D&D 5th Ed, you are pretty much fucked. You're going to be busting your ass to make that thing work with you.
Uh-huh.
And that's not cool. They have more official licenses with Wizards of the Coast.
Uh-huh.
So they require less configuration to run them. They have cheaper licenses than Roll20. You can save adventures as you make modules that can be loaded later. So say you have a really fun game and you want to kind of save the story and stuff like that for a later game, you can do that. It's a lot easier. Cons, though, like, I love how it says it has cheaper licenses than Roll20, then immediately under cons it says highest cost of major virtual tabletops. All right. Like, and I beg to differ on the cost because here's the thing. Their licenses are $40 to $150. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And the $150 is like the higher cost license that lets everybody play the game for free.
Right.
I have the $50 license a year from Roll20, and my benefits apply to all my players.
Okay.
It's literally 1/3 their cost.
Yeah.
And then the higher version of that is a $100 one. And once again, all my players would get the same benefit. So, Fantasy Grounds is more expensive than Roll20, not less. Thanks, Spud, for the check-in.
Seems fair.
Yeah. It has a steep learning curve on the UI. That's very true. Oh my god. That UI from Fantasy Grounds makes me want to tear my fucking hair out. How's it going? It's going fine, man. We're doing great. How about you? And, much less support for non-D&D systems. White Wolf is not even in existence on Fantasy Grounds.
Yeah.
Like, not there at all. Then there's Astral. I don't have any experience with that. Beyond Tabletop, Game Master Engine, Tableplop. Then there's this one, which came up, Tabletop Simulator. This is really cool, and I'd love to run a D&D game in it, but it's $20 a person or $60 for 4 people. So it does have a slightly high upfront cost.
Yes.
But in return, you get a full 3-dimensional table you can play with. And Tabletop Simulator does more than just D&D. It can do any RPG or board game in existence. Period.
Yeah.
Like, I use it for... Wait, give me a second. Damien, what are you doing? What are you doing, buddy? Looked like he was messing with a pillow. I use Tabletop Simulator to try out my Warhammer 40k armies. Because it's a cheap way to do that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
And it's a good way for me to help teach people how to play 40k without having them spend a ridiculous amount of money. How's the games going? Oh, the game's going great. We're doing fine. This is my little single-player RimWorld game I've been running on the side and just kind of having fun with it. If I was going to make any suggestion, I would definitely say pick up Tabletop Simulator. It's definitely worth the $20, but if you could get it while it's on sale, that's even better. Because I've seen it go on sale for like $10. And that is definitely worth it. Tailspire, I don't know. Oh, another thing with Tabletop Simulator, it's a problem though. Not good for low-end computers.
That's fair.
It will tank your machine like no man's business. And the same thing with Tailspire. Tailspire is that 3D complete environment with lots of nice terrain and everything. Oh, is that going to make your computer heat up real quick? So there is that. And of course, 1D&D is coming out with their virtual tabletop. And if I'm going to say anything about it, I don't think it's going to do very well. And it's not because it doesn't look nice. It looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous. It's amazing. That's the problem. They overly complicated it. Because low-end computers are going to have trouble running it. And then on top of it, so you got low-end computers are going to have trouble running it, for one. And two, the next thing is, how much is it going to cost? How much are they going to charge for it? How much content is going to be made available for it? How is it going to work? And they haven't been exactly forthcoming about that. Now, there are secondary programs I recommend for virtual tabletops. Okay? In this case, I kickstarted one called Dungeon Alchemist.
Yes.
It's beautifully done. Oh, the chat is on me. Where is it? I need to put myself above the chat box. I just realized I am below the chat box.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of going over, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go, we fixed it. Alright, I just looked at it, I was like, wait a minute, why are there words on my face? Dungeon Alchemist is beautifully done. It allows you to basically create a room, and the game, I wouldn't say game, the program will populate furniture in it for you. Based on what you said that room is. So that is super helpful for building a quick, fast dungeon. And you can make the, whatever you're making, 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional. Your choice. You can save it as both. Once again, super helpful. Another one I use a lot is Dungeon Painter Studio. That's good for making two-dimensional maps. Very well made. If you want to do like a big world map, but you don't want to build the world yourself, you just want to focus on like a small area and then add a world around it, Asgar's Fantasy Map Generator. What it does is it literally builds a world. It puts military units in it. It puts cities with populations in it, trade routes, cultures, religion. All of this gets generated in the game, in the program. It is incredibly complex, and it does an amazing job at it. Though the problem with it is its naming scheme, because more often than not, I look at cities and like countries and stuff and go, I can't pronounce that. My tongue don't move that way. It's just like, what?
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. There's another one coming up called Never Ending Dungeon. It hasn't been made released yet, but it does the same thing as Dungeon Alchemist. But it also can populate monsters in the dungeon. So also very well done. So there is that. With virtual tabletops, there is some advice I like to give, though. Other than make sure you pick the one that fits your group the best. One thing, if you're going to incorporate music into your game, make sure that the volume is low enough that it's not distracting. Alright? You need to be able to hear your players. You need to be able to hear what they're saying. More than you need to be able to hear the music. Another tool I'd highly recommend, I just remembered it, is the token tool. It allows you to take a screenshot off of your computer that you just click and drag and say, I want this little screenshot here. And then you can turn it into a D&D token with a border and everything. Very helpful.
Yeah.
I also recommend having a supply of maps, like picture maps. Do they need a grid? No, I'd actually say don't get ones without the grid. Because usually when you get a picture with a grid on it, it never lines up with the tabletop program's grid. It always seems like a little off.
Yeah.
And that will annoy people. So there is that. Other fun things to do. Keep a web page up with, or a web window up, or like an internet window up, with the ability to search on it. Whether it's Google, or God help you if you use Bing, or whatever. And have the ability to look up things. Things of that nature. Thanks for the hype, Andy. I appreciate it. If you're using Google, I'd highly also recommend, thank you, Trippy Joker, for the Smurf check-in. Using Google Sheets to do treasure lists.
Sure. Yeah, I use a lot of the Google Office stuff.
Yep. The Google Sheet is excellent for sharing treasure lists because then you can make a little column section to where people can claim treasure. And that makes it really easy. So that way the party can see the list at the same time, make modifications to that sheet as they go. So it makes treasure handing out way easier. It makes also doing combat a little easier because you can keep track of like HPs and other fun things in the background that you don't want your players to see necessarily. And for some unique classes in both 5th Ed and Pathfinder, hey Ruby, I got you tabbed up. I'm sorry, I'm just going through some stuff and I'm going to be lurking. Hey man, that's A-okay. Lurking's just fine. If you need to chat about whatever you're going through, you need an ear, message me. I'll at least listen. I may not give you the best advice, but I'll at least listen. I am not the, bastion of all wisdom after all. I need some water. Another thing, and I recommend this for not just virtual tabletops, but in-person games as well, but online games need this more than I feel than in-person games. Because in-person games, you tend to know the people better. You tend to see their reactions easier because you see their face. Create a form for several things. One, if the players aren't having fun in the game. All right? Whether it's a complaint form or changing the game or whatever, I'd recommend it.
Yeah, comments and suggestions.
Yeah, comments and suggestions forms. And allow it to be anonymous. Because some people don't want to put their names on something for fear of retribution. Alright? This, of course, will unfortunately give you the occasional troll, but hey, shit happens. The second form I recommend is dismissal of a player. And what I mean by that is, if you have a player who is being particularly problematic and driving the rest of your group insane, and they want that person gone, have a form for that. So that way you can figure out what the problems are without having to have direct attention to those problems and see them yourselves. Because you may not see them. Especially with online. Because people can, private message each other. And you won't see that message. And online bullying is a thing. And yeah, it does happen in D&D.
Yeah.
Which sucks, but I mean, there's really not much you can do about it other than find out about it and then take care of the problem. The third form, and this is the form I recommend you hand out to everybody before the game starts. A form of things that people do not want in the game due to the fact that it could cause them traumatic responses. Alright? And I'll give an example. My wife cannot stand being gaslit in any sense of the form. Alright? At all. There is a creature in D&D that is essentially a gaslighting creature. The whole point of it is to gaslight your players the whole game when this creature's around. So, by knowing the fact that my wife can't deal with being gaslit, I can't use this creature. I think you've heard of it, Gamera. The False Hydra.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was wondering what you were talking about.
Yeah, the False Hydra is literally, it gaslights you. Every time it kills someone, everybody in the town forgets that person existed.
Oh, I see.
Usually your party has a high enough will save to not be under that thing's effect.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden the party's like, hey, what happened to the innkeeper? And everybody goes, we never had an innkeeper here. What are you talking about? It is a major gaslighting creature. And if you have someone who has been gaslit before in an abusive situation, that can be a huge trigger.
Yeah.
And you don't want to mentally abuse your players. You don't want that to become a thing. So, just be careful. That's why I recommend that form. Like, my friend Marshmallow gave me one. And let me see if I can find it. Because it was really well done. My foot just fell asleep. Yeah, it's the consent form in gaming, or RP consent checklist. And it gives you, like, the following things, like, if I don't choke on my lungs here. Maybe if I have a blank one, please tell me I have a blank one around here. Because I have mine and my wife's. I don't think so. I mean, I don't mind sharing mine. Mine's not the end of the world. Alright. So, let me go to here. Let's go to display capture. Turn that off for a second. So this is what I'm talking about. It's the RPG consent list. So you have, let's see if I can open it in Not preview. Can I open? Okay, can I open this? Yeah, open with Acrobat DC. There we go. There we go. That's better. I can actually zoom in now. Huzzah. You right, hon?
Yeah, just took a bath to soak for a bit.
Okay.
I'm just crafting. Are you taking up? Ooh, this form. I love this form.
Yep, this form. So you have the GM's name, you have the player name, planned game theme. If this game was a movie, what would its rating be? Like, basically, which rating are you okay with? Mark the color to best illustrate your comfort level with the following plot or story elements. Then you got green, yellow, and red. Green is like enthusiastic consent, bring it on. Yellow is okay if veiled or off stage. Might be okay on stage, but requires discussion ahead of time, uncertain. And red is do not include this. So you got like horror, bugs, blood, demons, eyeballs, gore, harm the animals, harm the children, rats, spiders. And then you got romance. Like, what romance elements are you okay with in your game? Like, do you want fade to black? Do you want explicit? Do you want between PCs and NPCs? Between PCs, stuff like that. We got a monkey that's pissed off. I'll deal with that later. Social and cultural issues, homophobia, racism, real world religion, sexism, cultural issues.
This is the one he wrote. So
No, this is one I got from Marsh.
Oh, this is someone filled out for you.
No, I filled this out, but Marsh was the one who sent it to us.
Okay. But, I mean, this is all your preferences.
Yeah, these are all my preferences, like mental and physical health, what you're okay with, what you're not okay with, and then additional topics you want to add to it.
I don't think you have mine of this anymore.
Yes, I do. I still have yours.
Okay.
All right. So, I'm sure you saw that camera.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? Something like that is useful, I believe.
Sure. I usually have not done the full form thing, but that can be especially good. It depends on if you know the people you're playing with for a long time, if some of them are new players. You may have a good idea of what everybody is comfortable with, but it's still good to, at a minimum, go over it verbally in your session 0.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's something I usually recommend going over often. Even if you know the people really well, sometimes it's just good to touch base.
And like even if you're playing with the same group of people, redo it every 5 years.
Yeah, redo it every so many years. Like my wife said 5 years, and I could agree with that. You know, because, you know, some things change and some people may become more comfortable with some ideas or less comfortable with others.
Sure.
So double check on that. That's very important. And the reason why I say it's more important online is because you can't see their facial reactions. You can't see their body language. You don't know if you're bothering someone until they pretty much explode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is not a good thing.
Thank you for actually being understanding about the issues I have. I'm still trying to work on that.
I know. So like it can get wild, especially if you're not being careful. But I mean that's a form I heavily recommend. It's useful. It can be helpful. Things of that nature. I also do several forms for like my players on what kind of game they want. But that each person's their own thing, so I recommend that as well. Mm-hmm. Aside from that, I mean that's all really I have for virtual tabletops. How about you, man?
Yeah, I mean I think we've covered it. I will add that if you're doing virtual tabletops and you have the option. I have found that when you're playing remotely, it does help if you have a group that's willing to do like face cams, just so you can see like the facial reactions. But some people don't want to do that, and of course, it's paying attention to both the face cams and the map and all your other stuff. It can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah. I do recommend having voice though.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I've done text chat roleplay, and it's fine, but it's not really as interactive an experience as actual voice.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it nearly as much, and it's just like, oh, come on, man. Like, this hurts. It's just like, damn. Because, like, I always enjoy voice, but I know there are some people who just don't care for voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that. I mean, I really do. It's just like, okay, let's work with what we got and go from there.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I'm sitting here trying to find us someone to go raid.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of options. Let's see what we got here. All right, so what are people interested in? We got some Call of Duty. We got some Final Fantasy 14, Minecraft, WWE. Okay. Fortnite, some art, World of Tanks, Maple Story, God of War, League of Legends. Someone's playing their D&D game. It says Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Overwatch 2. 7 Days to Die. RimWorld. Cult of the Lamb. Final Fantasy 7. Sims 4, Sonic Frontier, and Star Sector. Huh. Those are my options. Does anybody get anything that calls to them? Oh, excuse me. Oh, and Conan Exiles. I missed that one. We could go Cult of the Lamb. That's always a fun one.
Yeah, it's a fun looking game.
One of these days I plan on picking it up. Oh, never mind. I think they're ending the stream.
Ah, bummer.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, let me have a little look at who's around. Okay. I know someone else who's doing Cult of the Lamb, so I'll do them instead. If I can get them to come up, please. Alright. Let me reload this page. What is going on here? It's acting weird. Come on. Reload. There he goes. Again? Oh, I didn't. Now I know why. Edit. I forgot to hit a certain button. Record request queue. Okay, save. That's why I was like, why isn't it letting me do this? Like, oh, that's why. Alright, so we are going to be rating someone named Film Otter, as he's doing Cult of the Lamb. Alright, if you are one of my wonderful 680 followers, goddamn, so many, please use the following raid message. If you are one of my 4 subscribers, please use the following message. Just smurfing and lurking, hope all is good. Yeah, I mean, we're doing alright. We're about to do the raid time, my friend, so stick around. You'll get some critical roles that way. Alright, tomorrow we are doing more Dragon Age DLC. I think we're on Awakening now, finally. And once we finish Awakening, then we'll be getting into our next game. That has not been completely decided yet, so we'll see what happens. Remember, for 5,000 channel points, you can decide what the game I play next week is. So keep that in mind. With that being said, make sure you're taking care of yourselves mentally and physically. That's always important, guys. Remember, it's always time for tea in our tavern, as burnt as it is. And I hope to see you all tomorrow for Wildcard Wednesday. So stick around for the raid. Get those critical rolls. Toodles.
Doodles.